All right, it's Cleveland Indians baseball for 1969. It's opening day at Tiger Stadium as the Indians take on Detroit. Last season, Detroit was in the race until the final day and finished one game out in second place, tied with Boston. Cleveland finished in fifth place in a 10 team league, but finished only 2.5 games out. They have the same basic pitching staff that they had last year, and they're hoping to build on last year and be a pennant contender again this year. The Indians haven't made many changes this year. They traded Eddie Fisher to California for Jack Fisher. They traded Bill Davis, who was a minor league phenom for them, but he severely injured his Achilles tendon in an off-season basketball game. And traded to the San Diego Padres for Zoilo Versalles. And they also traded Lou Johnson to California to reacquire Chuck Hinton. Starting lineups for today's game. For Cleveland, it'll be Jose Cardinal in center field, Russ Snyder in right field, Tony Horton at first base, the immortal Joe Askew catching, Jimmy Hall in left field, Chuck Hinton at third base, Larry Brown at shortstop, Zoilo Versalles at second base, and Luis Tiant starting. Tiant was a 20-game winner for the team last year. For the Tigers, they'll have Mickey Stanley leading off at shortstop, Dick McAuliffe at second base, Jim Northrup in center field, Norm Cash at first base, Willie Horton in left field, Bill Freehan catching, Al Kaline in right field, Don Wirt at third base, Denny McLain pitching. Last season, Denny McLain made a serious bid to be a 30-game winner, but he was stopped short, winning 29 games. Chilly day at Tiger Stadium, 55 degrees. Sky is clear. And the winds are 13 miles an hour out to right center field. Tigers have Norm Cash at first base, Dick McAuliffe at second, Mickey Stanley at short, Don Wirt at third base, Willie Horton in left, Jim Northrup in center, and Al Kaline in right. Mickey Stanley's made the move to shortstop because the Tigers had 4 hard-hitting outfielders, and manager Mayo Smith wanted to fit all 4 of them into the lineup. Leading off for Cleveland is Jose Cardinal with an 0-2 count. He grounds a single into right field. It's a base hit. Kaline throws it back into the infield. Batting second is Russ Snyder, the right fielder. Last season, Snyder came over mid-season from the White Sox. He performed pretty well for the Indians. He had 279, he had 3 homers, drove in 16 runs, played a good right field. Right. McLean looks over to first. Here's the pitch to Snyder. It's breaking ball. Cardinel's off with the pitch, and he's safe. Cardinel gets first steal of the year. None out. Runner on second. 0-1 pitch. Snyder grounds it to McAuliffe. Throws the cash at first. 1 out. Cardinel moves to third. It's Tony Horton. Tony came over from Boston in the Gary Bell trade. He's 67, and he's done well with Cleveland. He had 290. He had 67, and last year, the year of the pitcher, his average did dip a little to 252, but he had 13 home runs. Runner on third, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Ball strike 1, the outside corner. Here's a curveball. In the inside corner, strike 2. Oh, count. Changeup. Horton hits a fly ball to center. Northrop's under it. He has it. And Cardinal will score on the sacrifice. 1-0 Cleveland. It's Joe Askew. Been with Cleveland since '63 when he came over from Kansas City to Kansas City Athletics, not the new Kansas City Royals, obviously. And he's also done pretty well with the Indians. He's only caught over 100 games once. And he's swing and a miss, and he strikes out. It's 2 out, it's 3 outs. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, no one left. At the end of the first half inning, it's Cleveland 1, Detroit coming to bat. At Shea Stadium in the first inning, Montreal Expos leading the Mets 1-0. The Indians have Tony Horton at first. Zoilo Versailles at second, Larry Brown at short, Chuck Hinton at third, Jimmy Hall in left, Jose Cardinal in center, Russ Snyder in right, Joe Askew catching, and Louis Tiant pitching. It'll be Mickey Stanley, Dick McAuliffe, and Jim Northrop for Detroit. Full count. Mickey Stanley fly ball to right field. Snyder's under it, and he has it. It's 1 out. Here's Dick McAuliffe. He hits a fly ball to left field. Jimmy Hall toward the line in foul territory, and he has it. 2 out. Jim Northrop, center fielder. He hits a fly ball to left. Snyder's under it. It's 3 up, 3 down for the Tigers. Nothing across. After 1, it's 1-0 Cleveland. At Shea Stadium, the bottom of the first, the Mets tied the game 1-1 against Montreal. Cleveland will have Jimmy Hall, Chuck Hinton, and Larry Brown pitting. Jimmy Hall, he came over in the middle of this last season. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1963 with Minnesota. He came over from California, and he had hit 181 with California. He had 219 with Cleveland. He didn't see much action. Played 52 games. He had 20, played 23 games in center field for the Indians last year. Like he was on a good career track when he was with Minnesota. 1-2 pitch, strike three. Strikes out swinging. 1 out. McLean's second strikeout of the year. Here's Tony Horton, 2-0 count. He grounds to Cash. Cash takes it to first himself, 2 out. Larry Brown. Larry Brown's had a decent career with Cleveland. He's been with the team since 1963, has a career batting average of 252. He hit 254 last year in the year of the pitcher, and he hit 11 home runs. Drove in 78 runs. Three and 1 count. He grounds short. Stanley up with it to third. Third to first. 3 outs. Nothing across for Cleveland. Go to the bottom of the second. 1-0. The Indians lead. For Detroit, it'll be Norm Cash, Willie Horton, and Bill Freehan. Cash, he belonged to Cleveland for a few minutes, it seemed like, and then was traded to Detroit. In the expansion year, 61, Cash hit 52 home runs. He has 295 career home runs and a career 272 batting average. He had 250 last year with 29 home runs, 91 runs batted in. One out count. He lines base hit into left field. Jimmy Hall is up with it. Got past Larry Brown. He wasn't able to come up with it. Cash is on first. Nobody out. And Willie Horton is up. Tion throws the first. Cash is back safely. Here's Willie Horton. He had several injuries last year and was only able to appear in 68 games. He had 276, and he hit 18 home runs in those 68 games. He has been a regular since 1965, and he's an excellent power hitter. His missing so many games, I think, probably cost Detroit the pennant last year. Tion pitches inside, ball 1. Hit curveball, hits the outside corner, strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Line's foul down the third base line. Out. Curveball low. Ball 2. 2-2. The ball, it's low. It gets away from Askew. Norm Cash is second. That's being ruled a pass ball. Horton walks. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. And Bill Freehan is up. Freehan, another quality ball player for Detroit, one of the best catchers in the league. Maybe the best right now. He had an he had an injury impacted season last year as well, appearing in 92 games, 257. He has 94 career almost. Yeah, injuries really hurt the Tigers last year, probably more than any other team. Fastball low, ball one. Outside, ball two. Again, it's a little grounder down the third base line. It's foul. 2 balls, 1 strike. Inside, ball three. 3-1 count. Strike two called. Full count, nobody out. Runners on first and second. It's a fly ball in foul territory, down the left field line. It's out of play. Still full count. Ball four. T on second walk. Tigers have the bases loaded, nobody out, and L. Line at the plate. Line was the MVP in '63, the year the Tigers won the World Series. He was also had an injury-plagued season last year, appearing in 94 games. He had 269. He has 348 career home runs. He had 27 2 seasons ago in 1967. His high in home runs was in '62 when he hit 42. Oh, Tion is in a jam now. Here's the pitch. It's fly ball down the left field line. Hall is after it, but it makes his seats. Strike one. Here's the, in there at the belt. Strike two. Strike three called. Got him on a changeup. Okay, that's the first out. And here's Don Wirt. Don Wirt's been with the team since '63. He hit 220 last year. 7 home runs, 20 RBI. Wirt is someone, he is out there for his glove more than his bat. Here's the pitch. It's fastball, low, ball one. Another fastball, high and inside, ball two. Ball three, Askew. Askew threw a quick throw down to first base, and he caught Bill Freehan. Freehan is picked off. Count. Ball four. And the bases are loaded again. But this time they have 2 outs in Denny McLain. McLain won the Cy Young Award last year. He was 29-8 with a 2.02 ERA. Opposing hitters hit 189 off him, and he had a whip of .857. He's a 148 career hitter. First pitch, he pops it up, but it's back out of play. It makes a stand. Strike one. Strike two on the inside corner. Ball one inside. 1-2 count. Got 2 outs and the bases loaded. His fastball. McLean hits a liner to center field, and Cardinal comes up with it. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and they leave the bases loaded. Tiant worked himself out of a bases loaded with no outs jam. At the end of 2, Cleveland 1, Detroit nothing. For Cleveland, it'll be Zoilo Versailles, Louis Tiant, and Jose Cardinal. Last year, Versailles spent his first year in the National League playing with the Dodgers. Hit 205. That was coming off a 1967 season with Minnesota when his batting average dipped down to 186. A high of 292 back in 1965. Versailles played with the old Washington Senators and the Minnesota Twins, and he is back in the American League. 0-2 count. He hits a hard grounder to first. Cashes up with it, and he takes it to first himself. 1 out. It's Louis Tiant. Tiant last year was 21-10. He had a whip of .906, an ERA of 2.28, 314 strikeouts. He was probably, except for Denny McLean, probably the best pitcher in the American League last year. And he is a career 177 hitter, but in 1967, he hit 307. Okay, 1 ball, 1 strike. He hits a chopper to third. Word is up with it to cash at first for the out. 2 outs. Jose Cardinal. He singled to center in the first inning. It's a fly ball to center. Northrop is there. 3 outs. Nothing across for Cleveland in the top of the third. They lead 1-0. For Detroit, it'll be Mickey Stanley, Dick McAuliffe, and Jim Northrop. Stanley flied to right center in the first inning. Hits a liner in the right field for a base hit. Snyder throws it back in. Here's Dick McAuliffe. He's 0 for 1. He flies deep down the left field line in the first. He hits a tapper to first. Horton up with it, throws a Versailles. It's covering. Out at first, Mickey Stanley takes second. Tapper, that was a bunt. Here's Jim Northrop. He's 0 for 1. Strike 1. Ball inside. He hits a liner in a left field. Jimmy Hall up with it. Mickey Stanley rounds third. He's heading for home. And Hall will throw it into the cutoff man. Tigers tie the game 1-1. Up now is Norm Cash. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the second. Jim Northrup at first. He is a threat to steal. Throw to first. He's back safely. Ball inside. It's a fly ball in the right field. Snyder is there. He has it. Throws into Versailles as Northrup takes second. 2 out. Willie Horton, in his first appearance at the plate, he walked. Outside, ball 1. At Memorial Stadium in the third inning, opening day there, the Red Sox and the Orioles are tied 2-2. Horton swings and a miss, strike 1. It's a fly ball. Left field, it's going, and it's gone. Horton hits his first home run of the year. That was 354 feet. And the Tigers take a 3-1 lead. It's Bill Freehand. He walked in the second inning. He hits a liner into center field, base hit. Like he was going to try for second, but he stayed at first. Run around first, 2 outs. Sal Kaline, he struck out in the second inning. Inside. It's a fly ball to left. Hall is after it. It's off the wall. Freehand rounds third. Freehand comes in to score. Kaline at second with a double. Don Wirt, ball 1. Ball 2, just high. Wirt down the left field line. Home run. The third Tiger home run of the inning. That's his first. That was 343 feet. And the Tigers lead 6-1. Louis Tiant is off to a bad start this season. Here's Denny McLain. He's 0 for 1. Foul tip. It's a grounder to short. Larry Brown is up with it. Over to Horton. 3 out. But the Tigers get 6 runs on 6 hits. No errors. No one left. They had 3 home runs in that inning. Detroit, after 3, Detroit leads 6-1. Major League Baseball is back in Kansas City as the new Kansas City Royals lead Minnesota 1-0 in the bottom of the first. Cleveland has Steve Hargan warming up in the bullpen. Cleveland will have Russ Snyder, Tony Horton, and Joe Askew. Here's Russ Snyder, 0 for 1. He Swing and a miss, struck out. That's third strikeout for McLean. Tony Horton, he flied to deep right center in the first and sacrifice flies that scored Cardinal. It's a grounder to short. Stanley is up with it, over to first. 1 out, 2 outs. The immortal Joe Askew. He's 0 for 1. The 1-2 pitch. He hits a single to center. Jimmy Hall, he struck out in the second. Pops it back. That is out of play. Ball 1 outside. Ball 2 outside. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, runner on first. Hits a grounder to short. Stanley up with it. Throws to first for the 3rd out. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. Go to the bottom of the 4th. Detroit leads Cleveland 6-1. New pitcher for Cleveland is Steve Hargan. Hargan had his first season as a full-time player in '66. He had a good year. He was 15-6, 2.51 ERA, a WHIP of 1.098. Opposing hitters only hit 236 off him, but he's regressed since then. He seems to have some kind of arm trouble. He pitched fairly well in '67. He had a good whip, good ERA, good batting average against him, but he was 9-21. And he pitched 20 complete games out of 33 starts. Last year, he only started 1 game. He was 7-11 with an ERA of 4.59. Here's 0-2 to Stanley. Grounder to second. Versailles up with it. Throws to first. 1 out. Stick McAuliffe. He's 0 for 1. It's a base hit to right field. Stops at first with a single. Jim Northrup, he's 1 for 2. Hit a single in the 3rd, drove in Mickey Stanley. Strike 1. McAuliffe takes off for second. Askew with the throw to Larry Brown, and they get him. McAuliffe is caught stealing. It's 2 outs. 1-1 count to Northrup. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 2. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 2-2 count, 2 outs. Inside, ball 3. Full count, 2 outs. Pops it back, out of play. Ball 4. Storm Cash, he's 1 for 2. He's single in the 2nd inning. It's 1 down the first base line, foul ball. It's a grounder to first. Horton is up with it. Takes it to first himself, and that's 3 outs. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We played 4 innings in Detroit. The Tigers 6, the Indians 1. In the 4th inning at Shea Stadium, Montreal Expos lead the Mets 3-2. For Cleveland, though, it'll be Chuck Hinton, Larry Brown, and Zoilo Versailles. Here's Hinton, an 0-1 pitch. Lines a base hit into right field. K-line up with it, throws it in. None out and run around first. Hinton could be a threat to steal. Larry Brown, he's 0 for 1. Ball 1 inside. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. It's a grounder to work. To second. Back, throw to first, not in time. Larry Brown's at first on a fielder's choice, 1 out. Zoilo Versailles, he's 0 for 1 today. Inside, ball 1. Strike 1 called. Strike 2 called. It's a blooper in the center field, base hit. Brown stops at second. Have runners on first and second, 1 out. And Steve Hargan up at the plate. They're looking for him to bunt. He squares the bunt. Out of play. Ball or strike 1. There's a fastball. He squares around. Strike 2. Strike 3. He bunted that one foul. Strike 3. 2 outs. At Shea Stadium in 4th inning, the Montreal Expos lead the Mets 3-2. Cardinal fouls one back. Strike 1. Cardinal hits a liner to left. Willie Horton dives and he makes the catch. 3 outs. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. We're at the halfway point, the middle of the 5th. Detroit leads 6-1. For Detroit, it'll be Willie Horton, Bill Freehan, and Al Kaline. Horton hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning. It's a grounder to 3rd. Chuck Hinton up with it. Over to Tony Horton, 1 out. Bill Freehan, he singled in the 3rd. It's one of Horton. Oh, and it's off of Horton's glove. Horton will be charged with an error. Run around first, 1 out, and Al Kaline, he doubled off the wall. In the 3rd, it scored Bill Freehan. Strike 1. Ball high and inside. Ball outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. It's a curveball. Freehan takes off for 3rd. Askew throws it into center field. Askew charged with an error. Freehan makes it to 3rd. Kaline grounds it to Hargan. Throws it first for the out. 2 outs. Freehand remains on third. In Kansas City in the third inning, the Royals lead the Twins 4-0. Here's Don Ward. He hit a 2-run homer in the third, which capped their 6-run inning. Hits a grounder to third. Hinton is up with it to first, and that's 3 outs. No runs, no hits, 2 errors, and 1 left. After 5 innings, it's Detroit 6, Cleveland 1. It'll be Russ Snyder, Tony Horton, and Joe Askew. Snyder grounds to second. Over to first, 1 out. Tony Horton, he's 0 for 1 today. He hits a grounder to second. Over to first, 2 outs. Tony Horton is a player who takes the game very seriously, and he takes it hard when he doesn't come up with a hit or makes a misstep in the field. Joe Askew, he's 1 for 2. He's singled in the fourth. Strike 3 call. Strike 3 called. Strikeout number 5 for McLean. 3 up and 3 down for Cleveland. The middle of the 6th, the Tigers lead 6-1. Here's Denny McLean. He's 0 for 2 today. Strike 3. He swung and missed. That's strikeout number 1 for Steve Hargan. It's Mickey Stanley. 1 for 3. He grounded in the third. They're singling. Singles to right. It's his second hit of the game. His single started off the big Tiger rally in the third inning. It's Dick McAuliffe. He's 1 for 2. He singled in the fourth. It's liner down the first base line. Strike 1. On the third base line. Strike 2. No balls. 2 strikes. 1 out. Mickey Stanley at first. And they throw to first. Stanley's back easily. Ball 1 outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Stanley's going for second. Askew's throw, not in time. Was out of the strike zone, a little tough for him to handle. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 outs, that's Hargan's second strikeout. Here's Jim Northrup. He hit a single in the third that drove in Mickey Stanley. Breaking ball, strike 1. Bloops one into center field, base hit. Stanley rounds third. He's heading for home. Cardinal throws it in to the infield. Detroit increases their lead to 7-1. Cash, he singled in the second. Pops one back, but it's out of play. Ball 1, or strike 1. Here's the pitch. Strike two called. No balls, two strikes, two outs. Northrop on first. Outside, ball one. Pops it back, and it's out of play. Northrop off with the pitch. Askew's throw. Northrop is safe. It's the third stolen base of the game for the Tigers. Ball three at the shoulders. Full count, two out, runner on second. Cash hits a fly ball to right field. It is going, it is off the wall. Northrop scores. Cash holds at second with a double. 8-1 Detroit. Willie Horton hit a two-run homer in the third inning. Ball one. Inside, ball two. Inside, ball three. Swing and a miss, strike one. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Ball four. They're calling to the bullpen, and Larry Burchard is going to be up and throwing. Bill Freehan. Freehan singled in this third. It's outside, ball one. Low, ball two. Curveball, ball three. Strike one called. Just catches a corner, strike two. 3-2 count, 2 outs, runners on first and second. Pops it back. That'll be out of play. Still with the full count. It's a little bluebird to short or second. And it just gets past Versailles. That's his first error. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and here's Al Kaline. Kaline doubled off the wall in the third, drove in freehand. Askew goes to confer with Hargan. Ball one outside. Hits a liner down the third base line. Strike one. It's another liner down the third base line. Strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hits a grounder off of Hargan to Versailles. Versailles throws it first. It gets the third out. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, 2 left. And after 6, Detroit leads 8-1. It'll be Jimmy Hall, Chuck Hinton, and Larry Brown for Cleveland. It's a 1-1 pitch. Hall pops it back. It's out of play. Strike one. Strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a grounder to first. Cash up with it. He'll take it himself. 1 out. Chuck Hinton is 1 for 2. He singled in the 5th. Grounder to third. Wirt has it. Throws it first. It's low. Cash can't get it. Hinton takes second on the error because the ball went into the dugout. Wirt makes his first error of the year, and Chuck Hinton is on second. It's Larry Brown, he's 0 for 2. Strike 1. Strike 2. Strike 3. It's McLean's 6th strikeout. He's a little oversized. He singled in the 5th. Ball 1. Strike 1. Swing and a miss. It's a fly ball down the left field line. Horton is after it, but it makes the seats. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Inside, ball 2. Strike 3. He swung at a bad pitch. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 7th, and it's Detroit 8, Cleveland 1. New pitcher for Cleveland is Larry Burchard. This is Burchard's major league debut. He was drafted by Cleveland from the LA Dodgers. Don Wirt, Denny McLain, and Mickey Stanley at the bottom of the 7th. It's a grounder to third. Hinton up with it. Throws to first. 1 out. Denny McLain's 0 for 3. Ooh, Burchard hits McLain. McLain takes first. Mickey Stanley's 2 for 4 today. Singled in the 3rd and singled in the 5th. It's a fly ball in the right field. Snyder coming in, and he has it. McLain holds it first. Here's Dick McAuliffe, 1 for 3. Singled in the 4th. Strike 1. That was high, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2, that was high and outside. Strike 2, sweet. McCall swung at that. 2-2. Strike 3, at the knees. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. We've played 7. Detroit leads it 8-1. Going to look at some action going on around baseball today. The other opening days in the bottom of the 7th in New York, the Montreal Expos lead the Mets 5-2. That's Bill Stoneman going up for the Expos against Tom Seaver for the Mets. In Baltimore, the Orioles beat the Red Sox 5-2. Boog Powell hit his first home run of the year. Mike Cuellar got the win, and Ray Culp took the loss. In the bottom of the 5th in Kansas City, the Royals lead the Twins 5-2. Tony Oliva homered for Minnesota in the 1st. That is Boswell for Minnesota against Jones for Kansas City. Top of the eighth, and we're going to see a pinch hitter. Be Richie Scheinblum. Scheinblum's had a couple cups of coffee with the Indians in 65, 67, and last year. He's had 51 at bats, and he's a 235 career hitter so far. He is hoping to be able to work his way into the regular lineup this year. The Indians have a lot of hope concerning him. They consider him one of their prime young players. It's a 1-2 count. He hits a grounder to third. Word is up with it. Over to first, one out. Warming up for Cleveland is Vicente Romo. Here's Jose Cardinal. He's 1 for 3. He's singled in the first. He's scored the Indians' only run. It's 2-2 pitch. It's a fly ball down the right field line. K-line is after it, and he's got it. 2 outs. And here is Russ Snyder, 0 for 3 today. Lines a single in a set. Oh, he rounded to first, trying for 2, and he was safe with a double. They're going to send Dave Nelson in a pinch run for him. Tony Horton, he's 0 for 2. Fastball, strike 1. Ball 1, outside. Strike 2, swing and a miss. It's a fly ball in the right center. K-line is there, and he makes the catch. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Detroit 8, Cleveland 1. Richie Scheinblum is going to stay in the game in right field. Vicente Romo coming in to pitch. He'll be batting in the second position. Romo came over from the Dodgers at the beginning of the season last year. He pitched in 49 games. He had 91.1 innings pitched, a 6.3 record. He had a whip of 1.018, an earned run average of 1.97, and the opposing hitters hit 159 against him. He and Horacio Pena are 2 Mexican League pitchers who've done a good job for the Indians. Be Northrop, Cash, and Horton in the Bottom of the eighth. Northrop is 2 for 3. Singled in the third and singled in the sixth. It's a 2-2 count. Strike 3. Northrop is called out on strikes. 1 out. Norm Cash singled in the second and doubled in the sixth. Drove in Jim Northrop. Ball 4, and Cash gets a walk. Willie Horton, he had a 2-run homer in the third. He's 1 for 2. Strike 1. Strike 2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 called. 2 outs. 2 strikeouts for Romo. Bill Freehan, he's 1 for 3. Singled in the third. Scored twice today. Ball 1, just high. Strike 1, swing and a miss. Ball 2, just outside. Ball 3, way inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. 2 outs. Ball 4. It's the second walk given up by Romo. Al Kaline, he's 1 for 4. He doubled in the third and scored Freehan. Ball 1. Inside, ball 2. Grounder to third, Hinton up with it to Versailles at second. That'll retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left. After 8 innings, it's Detroit 8, Cleveland 1. In the 9th inning, it'll be Askew, Hall, and Hinton. Askew's 1 for 3. It's grounder to short. Stanley up with it. To first, 1 out. Jimmy Hall 0 for 3. Strike 3. That's McClain's 8th strikeout. Chuck Hinton, 1 for 3. Singled in the 5th. It's a grounder to first. McClain up with it to first. And that's the ball game. Nothing across for the Indians in the 9th. Final score, Detroit 8, Cleveland 1. Detroit had 8 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. Cleveland had 1 run, 5 hits, 3 errors. Detroit left 11 men on base. Cleveland left 5 men on base. Denny McClain is the player of the game. Detroit had Mickey Stanley going 2 for 5 with a stolen base. Jim Northrop 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Willie Horton 1 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Don Ward also hit a home run. Time of the game, 2 hours and 50 minutes. Cleveland had their troubles with pitching. Louis Tiant takes a loss. He's 0-1. Pitched 3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned. 2 home runs, he walked 3, struck out 1. Steve Hargan pitched 3 innings. He gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned. Walked 2, struck out 2. Burchard pitched 1 inning, struck out 1. And Romo pitched 1 inning, walked 2 and struck out 2. Neither Tiant nor Romo looked sharp today. Denny McClain pitched 9 innings, gave up 5 hits, 1 run. It was earned. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 8. Detroit had 3 stolen bases off of Cleveland. They were all off of Steve Hargan, Bill Freehand, Mickey Stanley, and Jim Northrup. Final score, Detroit 8, Cleveland 1. This has been Cleveland Indians opening day. Cleveland's home opener is Friday against the Boston Red Sox. Thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed the game.